Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about tips on starting a business. And I wish I knew this before I started my business. For me, when I started my business, I just hit the ground running. No idea, no plan, no research, just started. But if only somebody could have told me about these tips, maybe things could have been different. It would have made my life maybe much easier. I could have done many things faster. I could have made less mistakes. But I want to give these tips to you so that when you decide to start your business, it might be much easier for you than it was for me. So let's look at the 8 tips on starting a business. 1, do your research. You have an idea, but what you don't know is whether this idea will sell. And when you're doing your research, you have to look at whom are you targeting when you want to start this business? Whom do you want to sell to? Who is your target client? Who is your audience? What is the possibility of them buying your product? You can even do some marketing testing to see whether people will be receptive to buy your product. Do not ask your relatives. Your relatives will always tell you the product will work because they do not want to discourage you. Try it with people you do not know. Market it. And now it's even more advantageous because we have the online platforms. When I started, there was no internet, there were no online platforms. So even doing that research was very difficult. You would go to the library and do your research and hope for the best. But now there are so many platforms that you can go and test your product and see whether it can work. Because getting even a market research company would be on the higher side. Unless you've been funded, then you'll be able to pay for a market research company. And then number 2, now you've done your research, your product, you've found that you have an audience, you've tried to market and people are receptive, then now you come back to the ground and you plan. When you're planning, you look at how are you going to market this product or service? Where are you going to get finances? Are you financing it on your own? Are you being supported by your relatives? Do you have some savings in the bank? Are you starting it as a side hustle while you're working? So that it doesn't reach a point where your cash runs out and you're not able to manage to run the company. So you have to look at your finances. It's very crucial, in your market. Then you have to think about, if you are to employ, whom will you start with first? You have to start with the right person, because one of the mistakes we make, we employ so many people whom we don't need because we do not know. We are just thinking we are paying people to work, but we don't know what this person, the most crucial person to start with, who will take the business to another direction. For me, I was lucky. The first person whom I brought in was somebody who was very willing to learn, and she learned everything. She was an all-rounder. She would do everything, and she was curious. And she even took over some of the things I used to do without me trying to delegate to her. But these people, they're there, but they're rare. And then, do you need a location? This is still in your planning. Or do you need a platform? The location should be viable enough, in such a way that you are able to reach your target audience. Or a platform should be viable enough that your target clients usually reach out through these platforms to look for those kinds of products. Then number three, after planning, you've learned how you're going to market, you've known already how you're going to finance the business, you know whom, in case, most likely you are the one who will be doing these things first before you think of an employee, but you have to have an employee in mind. One, why? Because you'll be able to start searching for this employee first. You search slowly so that you get the right person. Don't hire on a reactive mode. So have it in your thoughts, and then you've gotten the location or the platform. Then you move to the business structure, which is number three. You choose the business structure. Which one will you be comfortable with? Are you comfortable with the sole proprietorship? Are you comfortable with the partnership? Or you are comfortable with a limited company? And this all depends on you and what your long-term focus, where you want the business to head to. Maybe you are planning for a business that in the long run will have to exit this business. And this one, a limited company is quite viable for this, for that kind of a business with an exit strategy. A sole proprietorship is where you are the only one who runs this business, and maybe that's how you like it. So you'd rather go that, or you'd rather go that way, or go for a partnership also where you are sharing the responsibility of running the company with other parties. And then after choosing the right business structure, that business structure that is right for you, then you go to number four, you register a company. You have to look for a name that is appropriate, that works for you. It could be aligned to the product or service that you're going to serve. Yeah. Some people prefer to even put their names as a business name. So after picking the business name, you go and register your company in eCitizen. If you don't have an eCitizen account, you sign up for one. Nowadays, it's very easy to register a company. Before, we would use a lawyer to register for other company, but now you just get into eCitizen and you apply, you make payment, and your company is registered. And then after registering the company, then you go to number five. Number five is related to number two, where we talked about you will need a location. Yeah. So number five, you search for that location. If it's brick and mortar, if it was a platform, maybe you'd have set up the platform already. It could be an e-commerce, so most likely maybe you've used Shopify or many other e-platforms to set up your business. And then after getting a location for your business, you'll move to number six. This one is very crucial. You create a system. You create the basic essential systems. This one will give you direction in terms of when it comes to analyzing your business, so that you know whether you are really growing, moving forward, or you are stagnant, or you are moving backward. So you will say there are two very crucial systems. There are two very crucial systems that you can start with. There's the growth system, and this includes how you are going to market, how you are going to sell, how you are going to serve your customer. That is the customer care. That is what will define the growth of your company. And then the other system is the fulfillment system. This one is to define how you're going to serve your customer. How are you going to onboard this customer? How are you going to serve them in such a way that they'll be happy with your service? And this is defined by you as a person. Most likely, you'll have had values that you adhere to, because each and every individual has a value that they adhere to. So, with this, you'll be able to serve your customers, and it will make it even easier for you to use this to define the first employee using these systems. You will know where there's a need. There'll be an open book defining for you that I need a person in this space or I need a person in this space. It will be very easy for you. And also defining the tasks that you're going to give this past employee. And this is something that we are never told. But I realize that having these essential systems will define the growth of your company, will be able to show you where you are heading to. So if you want to grow your company, these ones will help you. Even getting data, these systems will help you to set the right data to gauge whether your company is growing or not. So systems are key. Nobody talks about the systems. We are told, it took me time to really understand setting up of these systems. Before, we just used to work haywire. But if I had known this, I think I would be in a very different space. And then after setting up these two crucial systems, there are other systems that will come up later, but these ones, you will create them as you work on and you look at how you go about your processes. So after setting up the systems, you will go to number 7, where you'll open a business account. And this one should be specifically for the business, dedicated to the business only. Separate your personal account and your business account. Those are two totally different things. For your personal account, you'll have to have a salary. Always have your salary so that you pay yourself and then you plan with your personal money. But separate the two. This one will make it easier for you to know whether the business is making money or not. But if you mix them up, you will never know. For me, I just created, I don't know, nobody told me, but I just thought, let me just separate this. My only issue is I was spending my money for the business. And when I was spending my money on the business, I was never getting it back. But I used to pay myself a salary. But at the end of the day, I end up again putting in my salary back into the business. And that was wrong. And then after opening a dedicated account for your business, we go to number 8, which is the most crucial. And this one means that the business is on the go. And this one is now focusing on consistent marketing, serious marketing. Already you've defined how you're going to market in number 2 when you're planning. So now you focus. If you're putting in money, focus. And then after working on your marketing, you focus on the delivery. So these two, you'll realize these two and the systems are aligned. The marketing is aligned to the growth system, and the delivery is aligned to the fulfillment system. So when you focus on these two, you'll be able to know where you are heading to. Then when you have these 8 in place, then now you can go ahead and hit the ground running. And the other thing that will come in later, you will learn as you are moving on.